Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now I've got another Cocarosa die that they sent to me, and this is a beautiful, very detailed winter scene die. And it's got these pine cones and some ferns and a frame around it, and we're just going to work with it today. Now I'm going to use a shim on this just because there's so much detail, and I've got a brand new magic mat. I went ahead and got another one, and I'm going to bring in this Spellbinders metallic silver paper or cardstock, and I'm just going to get this lined up on here, and the piece is just barely the right size, so I'm going to tape it down so it doesn't move on me, so that we get a good cut. And I am going to run this thing through, I think 4 times, just to ensure that I get a good cut, because there is so much detail on this die, and it looks like it cut really well because you can see it pulling apart from the frame already. And so I'm just going to lift it off of there, and you can see a lot of the little bits fell out on my magic mat, but there are a whole lot more that need to come out. So I'm going to work through those, and this piece here, this big piece in the center, actually completely pops out, and there's just a frame around the top. So I'm just going to kind of tug on it a little bit and just pull it away from the pine cones and the ferns and just get it popped out of here. Now, because of the level of detail on this die, there is a good bit of weeding, and I'll use my tool there to just weed it out. And you can see that some of the pieces have already fallen out, but there's just some corner pieces that I'm popping out, and some pieces along the bottom there that need to come out. And I'm just going to take my tool and just start poking away at all of those little bits. The pine cones are very, very detailed, as well as the ferns, and so there's a whole lot of weeding to go on here. So, and it's popping out pretty easy. Some of the pieces do get stuck on the back, and I have to kind of wiggle on them a little bit, but there is a lot of detail, so there are a lot of pieces, and I'm using the brush tool to just kind of release and loosen those up, and getting even more off. But I'll just keep weeding until I get all of the little pieces out, and we can work with the panel. So let's see. Oh, we had a very, very busy week this week. It was Vacation Bible School, and I had my grandsons, I have them from 7 to 4 every day, and then I had Vacation Bible School. It ran from 6 to 8, but I had to be there at 5 a couple days and at 5:30 the other days. So virtually my entire day was spent with little kids, and it was long. It was very long. Fortunately, it ran from Sunday to Thursday, so today is Friday, so I have the evening off, and I'm just taking a little time to do some crafting, and I'm going to rest a little bit, and then we're going to have a little cookout with my siblings. So we're going to do that, and that'll be fun. We're going to have some hamburgers and hot dogs and baked beans and your typical cookout food. And we're going to have a little fire in our fire pit, so that'll be fun. My husband's been getting the fire pit ready, and doing all of the outside work and everything that he normally does. And we decided that we're going to rest for about an hour until we have to start pulling the food and everything together. So I am just doing this voiceover, and then I'm going to take a little nap. So I'm just trying to make sure I've got all of these pieces out, and some of them want to stick on the back, and so I'm using my little brush to kind of brush them out. And I keep double checking, and I think I've got them all, and then I'll see another one that needs to be popped out, or a couple of them. And I'll just keep going until I think I've got them all out. And I've got one that's kind of sticking there, so I'm going to have to pull it out. And I think it's looking really good. So just pull it out, and you can see I've just got a little thin frame around the top of it. Still looking to see if there's anything else I need to weed out. And the air is running because it's hot outside, so it just shut off, so you probably don't hear that noise now. Okay, so just a few more pieces of weeding, and then I think we'll be able to start assembling our card. So it does take a minute, but I think it's well worth the time spent weeding. Now that scrap of silver I will save because that's good cardstock and I don't like to waste it. I'm going to flatten this out, and I'm going to bring in my card base and a background panel, and we'll get to assembling on this. I'm still fussing with, I don't know, one or two more pieces, trying to get it ready. Okay, so now we're ready. Okay, so I've got my card base here, and I'm laying it on here, and the frame is a little bit smaller than A2, but this card base is actually messed up, and I don't even figure it out for a minute. I'm going to bring in some blue paper, and I'm going to cut it down to A2 size, because I think this will look really pretty on there. I'm just testing the color, seeing if I like it right now, and I'm going to bring in my Spellbinders paper cutter here, and I'm going to cut it to I think A2 size card base, 5.5 by 4.25, and then I am going to lay it down on there, and I'm like, I think I cut it wrong, and so I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece. I'm trying the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the other one, and I'm double checking to make sure I've got it at 5.5 and then 4.25, and I'm going to hold it up there, and I'm like, the card base must be wrong. So I bring in my paper cutter, and I realized that my card base was messed up. So I had to trim it down, and then I think all the pieces would work on there now. So anyway, process of elimination. So we're going to get this glued down on our card base. And I'm just going to use my little paper, my little scraper tool, and just kind of run it across there to get the glue more evenly dispersed. Now I'm going to push very, very lightly on this glue press, and it's got the fine tip in it. And I'm just going to barely get some glue on this all the way around and lay it down, because I'm going to try really hard not to make a mess on that dark blue paper so that this will look really pretty. And we'll just get it all glued up and get it laid down on our card base. And I'm not hitting every spot. I'm just hitting some of the metallic areas that are larger than others, where I can just put a little dab of glue in there, and trying to make sure I get like the tips so that I can get them laid down well. And then we'll get it laid down on there, and it does have more room at the top and the bottom than it does on the sides, and that's just because I think it measures 4 inches and not 4.25, or maybe, yeah, I think that's about right. So I need some more glue on the top, so I'm just going to run some glue in there and then push down, make a little bit of a glue mess, and try to clean it up with my fingers. And I'm just going to touch up some areas that need just a little bit more glue. And I think it's gorgeous. It looks really pretty on that blue. Now when I do this, some of the glue seeps out, and I have to kind of clean it up with my glue eraser. And I'll just kind of run it across there and clean it up. And I think it's really pretty, and all we need is a sentiment to go up there in that open area. So I'm going to go searching for that. And I grabbed one that I already had die cut out in a silver glitter, and I decided to go against that. So I went to get the die. And I'm just going to use the scrap of the silver there for the shadow, and just die cut that out with my scalp. And I was just trying to make sure it's going to fit on there, because it's kind of a big shadow, but I actually had enough space to get it die cut out from that, and it's going to work out just fine. And then I'm going to bring in, I'm just keeping the same two colors, I'm going to bring in that blue cardstock for the actual word, Merry Christmas, and we'll just die cut it out of this blue, and we'll just basically have a two-tone card with the silver and the blue, and I think it's going to turn out really nice. Now, I have used this Merry Christmas die before, and I struggled with it today. So I actually took it and ran it through my Spellbinder 6 die cutting machine one more time. Actually, I think I ran it through a couple times just to get a good press on it. Now I'm going to create a puddle of glue and just run the sentiment through that. So I'll just have a little bit of glue on the back and hopefully not make a mess of it. And then I really struggle with getting this thing laid down. And I don't know why, because I've used it multiple times and I usually don't have problems with it. But I think it was the towel that was hanging off of the Christmas that was kind of getting in the way. And I'm adding some more glue to the M because it didn't look like it had any on there. So I'm just touching it. And I'm going to clean up my hands so that I don't get my metallic shadow all messed up. Grab my tweezers and try and get it laid down on here. And I think I kind of laid it down kind of wonky to where the letters looked kind of weird. So I had to keep moving it around. And I finally settled on something. And then after I took a picture of it, I think the M looks a little bit wonky on there, but I think it'll be all right. And this was just a Merry Christmas sentiment that I have in my stash. Nothing new. It's just one that I've had for a while. And I'm just going to take the glue eraser and try to clean up the metallics so that it'll look clean and nice. And I'm just trying to move those letters around. And I'm thinking I'm going to lay it right here. And I'm going to touch up some areas that need a little bit more glue and just press down and try and clean up the glue with my fingers and the eraser. I'm just brushing off some glue and bits off of the card. And I think I'm going to pop it up on here. I first grab my glue and then I decide, actually I'm still gluing down the sentiment on there. But I actually decide that I'm going to bring in some foam tape and pop this up. And then it'll just kind of go over the top of my frame just a little bit. I love blue and silver together. For Christmas, I think it looks really pretty. So I'm just getting some wide foam tape, and I'm going to cut it kind of wonky. Excuse me, I just had a major frog in my throat there. I couldn't hardly talk. So I'm just going to angle it, and that way it'll kind of fit on there and trim up some areas and just kind of cut it to where I can get it to fit on this odd shape. And I'm going to use those little pieces as well and just kind of tuck them in. Then we'll just pull off the release tape and we'll get this sentiment laid down on here, and that will finish up our card. I'm trimming out some pieces that I think are going to show from behind. I don't want them to show. So I'll just pull the release paper off and throw it aside into the pile on the right side of my desk. And I'm lining it up on my glass mat so I can make sure I get it straight. And I think it turned out really nice. So I hope you like it. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.